In the stillness of love, a man exposes not his desire but his essence. What the ego conceals, closeness unveils. Adapted from Carl Jung. Jung once observed, "Until you bring the unconscious into awareness, it will rule your life, and you will call it destiny." Nowhere does this truth emerge more clearly than in love, especially in the intimacy of the night. When the lights fade and the daily masks are lifted, a man can no longer fully disguise who he truly is. His hidden self speaks through his body, his gestures, and the way he holds the one he loves. In those silent expressions lies the difference between temporary passion and love that reaches the depth of the soul. In this reflection, we will explore 4 gestures that men naturally display only when they are genuinely in love. These are not calculated moves or learned behaviors. They rise instinctively from the depths of his unconscious being. To recognize them is to understand the subtle lines separating desire from devotion. From Jung's perspective, love is not simply an emotion but a sacred encounter between 2 inner worlds. The unconscious yearns for unity, for that moment when the self steps out from behind the mask and allows itself to be known completely. When a man loves profoundly, he permits this unveiling. His defenses soften, his shadow quiets, and what surfaces is pure humanity, tenderness, openness, and the courage to be seen. To witness such a moment is to glimpse both the beauty and the mystery of connection, 2 souls meeting without pretense, without armor, in their most truthful state. Before we continue, if you find meaning in this exploration, I invite you to support the journey. Like this video and subscribe to our channel so you can join a community dedicated to understanding love, consciousness, and the hidden architecture of the human psyche. Now, let us begin. The first sign may appear deceptively simple, yet, through a psychological lens, it reveals something profound about how men communicate love. Deep eye contact during intimacy. When a man truly loves, he does not merely look, he sees. His gaze does not flicker or search for control. It lingers, steady and sincere. In that silent exchange, he allows himself to be known. It is not just passion, it is trust. It is the quiet surrender that says, "I am here, fully present with nothing to hide." I once heard from a woman in her late 50s who had remarried after a long and painful divorce. She told me the greatest difference between her 2 marriages was not money, not physical affection, nor even daily communication. It was what happened in silence, after the lights went out. In her first marriage, she said, the nights were cold even though they shared the same bed. Her husband would turn away quickly, close his eyes, and rarely look at her. It always felt, she recalled, like his body was there but his spirit was somewhere else. That absence of presence, that lack of seeing and being seen, marked the emotional distance that no physical closeness could bridge. With her second husband, everything changed. "He holds my gaze," she told me. "Sometimes it's so powerful I almost want to turn away, because it feels like he can see right through me. But I've learned to stay with it. It makes me feel loved in a way that words never could." A psychologist like Carl Jung would describe this as the moment when the person of mask each of us wears in daily life begins to dissolve. The persona is the social facade we present to the world, polite, competent, and controlled. Yet in the intensity of real intimacy, love demands something more honest, something rawer. To meet someone's eyes at that level of openness is to let go of performance and to reveal what exists beneath. It is the soul daring to be seen. Why does this simple act carry such weight? Because eye contact is not just a physical connection, it's a symbolic bridge between 2 inner worlds. Jung believed that the eyes are portals to the unconscious, a realm where archetypal forces reside. The lover, the beloved, the shadow, the self. When two people gaze into each other during intimacy, they are not merely two individuals sharing a moment. They are encountering something universal, the archetype of love itself, where the boundaries of self and other momentarily fade. But such depth always carries risk. To truly look into another's eyes is to risk being seen, and being seen means revealing truth. Eyes can't easily lie. They expose hesitation, fear, desire, or pain. A man who cannot hold that gaze may still be protecting a part of himself. Perhaps he fears rejection or judgment. Perhaps the unintegrated aspects of his psyche, the shadow, as Jung called it, still weigh upon him. When he turns away, he isn't merely avoiding his partner, he's avoiding the confrontation with his own depths. And so, though it may appear a small gesture, it reveals everything about his state of inner development. To ignore this is to confuse proximity with connection. A man can lie beside you, warm and gentle, yet remain emotionally distant. If his eyes wander, if he avoids truly meeting yours, then something sacred has not yet awakened. For real intimacy is not only about closeness of bodies, but the meeting of awareness. When that exchange is missing, relationships often slide quietly into emptiness. The heart senses the absence even when the mind denies it. Yet when a man dares to meet your gaze steadily, openly, without pretense, he offers something profound. He offers his presence. This is not the restless flame of desire, but the steady, enduring light of devotion. In Jungian terms, such a moment represents individuation, the process by which a person allows the unconscious to emerge and becomes more whole. When a man looks into his lover's eyes without defense, he steps beyond the false self and stands closer to his authentic nature. So how can this awareness deepen your own understanding of love? Begin with reflection. Notice what arises within you when that gaze is shared. Do you feel exposed, safe, alive, or uneasy? Such feelings are messages from the unconscious, revealing how comfortable you are with being seen. Jung often suggested journaling after significant emotional experiences. You might write, "What did I feel when he looked at me? Did I retreat or did I open?" Through these reflections, you begin to understand not only the other but also yourself. Still, love expressed through the eyes is only the beginning. There are other signs that emerge through touch, rhythm, and selflessness. Gestures that show how love moves from the soul into action. The next sign reveals not only what a man perceives but what he gives. It is found in how he values her pleasure above his own. Desire alone is self-centered, but love transforms it into generosity. When a man is truly in love, his fulfillment is reflected in hers. He does not rush toward his own satisfaction. Instead, he listens to her breathing, her movements, her subtle cues. His attention becomes a form of devotion, a language of care. In those intimate moments, his joy becomes inseparable from hers. Fulfillment is no longer about conquest or achievement, but about genuine connection. As Jung often suggested, love leads us beyond the limits of ego. The ego asks, "What can I gain?" But the self asks, "What can I offer?" In moments of closeness, this distinction becomes visible in the smallest gestures. A man who truly loves is intuitively attuned to his partner's rhythm. He senses the changes in her breathing, the subtle tension or softening of her hand, the quiet sounds that speak more truth than language ever could. He adjusts, not from obligation, but from devotion. I once spoke with a man in his early 60s who had been married for more than 3 decades. He admitted that when he was young, intimacy was all about speed and performance. Back then, I thought being a good lover meant proving something. He told me it was about stamina, control, reaching the end as quickly as possible. I didn't even notice what she was feeling. But as he grew older, something within him shifted. His love for his wife had matured. Now, he said, my favorite moment is when she exhales, smiles, and relaxes after. I know I made her feel safe, loved, and seen. That's what matters most. His reflection captures a truth that time often teaches. Love doesn't slow you down because desire fades. It slows you because reverence deepens. From a Jungian perspective, this shift marks a movement from persona to authenticity. Many men are taught early in life that intimacy is a performance, another arena to prove their worth. They wear the mask of the confident, skilled lover, believing approval lies in control or achievement. But masks cannot love. Only the unguarded self can. When a man centers his partner's pleasure instead of his own, he takes off that mask. He becomes present human rather than heroic. There is also a symbolic layer to this transformation. In Jung's view, the lover archetype represents not just desire but surrender and devotion. When a man's focus shifts from taking to giving, he embodies this archetype in its truest form. He steps out of the shadow side of desire domination, control, self-gratification, and into its illuminated side, generosity, unity, and trust. Still, it is important not to idealize this too easily. There are men who disguise control as care, who speak of selflessness while quietly seeking power. Jung warned that the shadow is never far away. The real test of devotion is whether his giving flows freely without manipulation, without keeping score, without expecting praise in return. True love doesn't calculate. It gives because giving is its own reward. How then can this deeper intimacy be nurtured? It begins with awareness. Notice whether both partners leave the moment restored rather than emptied. Notice whether joy feels mutual, whether presence feels balanced. Gratitude is one of the simplest yet most profound ways to strengthen this awareness. When you say, "I felt safe when you slowed down for me," you acknowledge the unconscious exchange that took place, and, in doing so, you reinforce it. You can also build small rituals around this awareness. Treat intimacy not as a destination, but as a shared exploration. Remove distractions. Move slowly. Let laughter and tenderness weave into desire. Jung often spoke of creating sacred spaces, moments in which the ordinary becomes symbolic. When approached with mindfulness, intimacy becomes just that, a ritual of emotional and spiritual union. To place her pleasure before his own is not weakness or submission. It is the quiet strength of genuine love made visible through care. It is a man saying, "Your peace is the reflection of my own. Your happiness is my fulfillment." In that surrender, both partners move closer not only to each other, but to the wholeness that waits within themselves. The eyes unveil truth, and through the act of giving, that truth finds its full expression. Yet there is another signone that challenges many men but remains the most profound of all. The willingness to reveal his inner world, to allow his emotions to surface even in moments of deep vulnerability. Before we continue, take a moment to reflect on what has been shared about intimacy, affection, and openness, and share your thoughts below. A story once shared by Carl Jung illustrates this beautifully. A man came to him in quiet despair, not because of conflict during intimacy, but because of what followed afterward. He admitted that for years he would turn away from his wife as soon as the act was over. He would roll to the side, close his eyes, and pretend to sleep. He assumed it meant nothing. But one evening, his wife broke down in tears and confessed that she felt used and unseen, as though she existed only for a brief moment of desire. Her words pierced him, but what haunted him most was realizing that his silence had spoken louder than anything he had ever said. This story captures something rarely discussed. The moments after intimacy often reveal more than the act itself. When a man truly loves, he does not retreat into silence or distance. He lingers. He stays close. He may hold her, whisper softly, or simply breathe beside her in quiet connection. In these gentle moments, he reveals not only his affection but his trust, his readiness to remain emotionally present when the ego urges him to withdraw. Jung might interpret this as the ego's defenses melting away. The ego seeks to perform, to control, to maintain the illusion of independence. But when the act of love ends, a door opens, a chance for something deeper to appear. When a man chooses to stay connected, to speak gently, or to rest in closeness without pretense, he allows the unconscious to rise into awareness. This is what Jung called individuation, the integration of the persona, the outer mask, with the true self within. In this sense, post-intimacy affection is not merely a tender gesture. It is a psychological act of union. It represents the dissolving of separation, where both partners exist not as roles, but as souls. The persona, strong, stoic, detached, falls away, and what remains is authenticity. To remain open in that vulnerable space demands courage. To express tenderness, gratitude, or fear requires strength of a different kind, the strength to be human without armor. In those moments, love transcends desire. It becomes devotion. Yet, when this truth is ignored, the consequences are subtle but painful. If a man habitually withdraws after intimacy, his partner feels the silent ache of abandonment. Many women describe the sorrow of lying beside someone physically near but emotionally distant. Over time, the unconscious records this absence as rejection. It does not shatter the bond in one dramatic instant. Instead, it erodes trust slowly, invisibly, until connection fades into emptiness. True intimacy does not end when passion subsides. It continues in the silence that follows, where the soul either hides or dares to stay. A woman in her 60s once described this to me with awe. She said, "We move together. Sometimes I do not know if I am following him or if he is following me. It feels like dancing, but with no music and no steps. Just us." What touched her most was not the passion alone, but the harmony. She explained, "It makes me feel as though we are one being, not two separate people." For her, this unspoken synchronicity was the truest proof of love. Carl Jung had a phrase for this: participation mystique. It describes the dissolving of boundaries between self and other, the mysterious sense of being joined at a level beyond rational understanding. In everyday life, the ego insists on separation. I am me, you are you. But in moments of deep intimacy, those walls thin. When lovers breathe together, move together, and mirror one another without effort, they are experiencing a temporary return to what Carl Jung saw as an ancient truth. The psyche longs for union. This synchrony is not about perfection. It is not about being identical or losing individuality. Rather, It is the unconscious expressing harmony through the body. The lovers are attuned as though their nervous systems are speaking to each other directly. Jung might say that archetypes are at work here. The lover archetype pulling both toward union, while the self whispers through the body, "You belong here. You are not alone." When this is missing, intimacy often feels fragmented. Bodies may touch, but the experience remains disjointed, like two instruments playing out of tune. A partner may feel unseen, unaligned, even when physically close. Over time, this lack of harmony can create subtle loneliness, an ache not of absence, but of misattunement. Jung warned that disconnection of this kind keeps us trapped in the persona performing intimacy, rather than living it. When synchrony is present, however, something profound happens. Lovers emerge from the moment not only satisfied, but transformed. The unconscious recognizes harmony as a form of healing. The shadow, the inner loneliness, the fear of separation momentarily dissolves. What remains is peace. As one man put it, "When our bodies move together, I stop feeling like I have to prove anything. I just feel home." Strangely, not by trying, synchrony is ruined by force. It comes naturally when two people trust enough to let go of performance. The best way to invite it is through presence. Slow down. Breathe consciously. Notice without controlling. Allow silence. As Jung often emphasized, the unconscious speaks in symbols and gestures, not in commands. When the mind is quiet, the body often finds its own harmony. Another way is to cultivate attunement outside the bedroom. Shared walks, slow conversations, or simply sitting together in stillness helps weave a rhythm of togetherness that carries into intimacy. The more two lives intertwine in daily presence, the more naturally the bodies align in moments of passion. Synchronized movements and mirroring are not techniques to master. They are signs to recognize. They whisper, "Here, in this moment, the boundary has thinned. Two have become one, not by losing themselves, but by meeting each other fully." And so we arrive at the heart of Jung's insight. Intimacy is never only about passion. It is about revelation. In the gaze, in the giving, in the lingering embrace, and in the harmony of breath, love reveals itself as something more than desire. It is the unconscious daring to step into the light of union. Now, let us gather these truths together and reflect on what they mean, not only for our relationships, but for our journey toward wholeness itself. We have explored together 4 intimate signs of true love: the depth of sustained eye contact, the selfless joy of prioritizing a partner's pleasure, the tenderness that lingers after intimacy, and the harmony of synchronized movements. On the surface, these may look ordinary, but through Jung's perspective, they are profound. They are the language of the unconscious, small gestures that reveal devotion, trust, and emotional safety. Carl Jung often reminded us that intimacy is never only about the body. It is a meeting of souls. When a man shows these signs in bed, he is not simply expressing passion, he is revealing his authentic self. In those moments, he steps away from the mask of the persona, confronts the hidden forces of the shadow, and allows his deeper self to emerge. When two people meet in that place, they discover not just physical closeness, but spiritual union. If you found meaning in this exploration, Please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel Jungian Mind Shift. Your support helps this space grow and ensures you will not miss the next journey into Jung's wisdom. In our next episode, we will look at archetypes, those timeless patterns that shape not only our relationships, but the deeper story of the human soul. Until then, may you see with clarity, love with courage, and live with an open heart. True synchrony between two people is not about flawlessness, imitation, or the surrender of individuality. It is the hidden self, the unconscious, communicating its sense of harmony through the body. In these moments, two nervous systems seem to converse in silence, speaking a language older than words. A depth psychologist like Carl Jung might have described this as the activation of archetypal forces, the archetype of the lover drawing both souls toward oneness, while the inner self quietly reminds them, "You are safe here. You belong." When this energetic attunement is missing, connection often feels fragmented.
Physical closeness can exist without emotional coherence, like two musical instruments slightly out of tune. One partner may sense affection yet still feel unseen, out of rhythm, or emotionally distant. Over time, this lack of resonance gives rise to a quiet loneliness, not from absence, but from disconnection. Jung warned that such separation keeps us confined within the mask of the persona, acting out affection instead of embodying it. We mimic intimacy, performing rather than participating. Yet when genuine synchrony arises, something extraordinary occurs. Lovers emerge from the encounter not merely content, but transformed. The unconscious recognizes this unity as healing. The shadow softens, inner solitude loosens its grip, and the fear of separation temporarily dissolves. What follows is peace, the rare, wordless calm that comes when two beings move as one. One man once expressed it beautifully. "When our bodies move together, I stop feeling the need to prove anything. I just feel home." That sense of homecoming cannot be manufactured. Paradoxically, it vanishes the moment one tries to force it. Synchrony thrives only in trust, presence, and surrender. The path to it is deceptively simple. Slow down. Breathe with awareness. Witness without controlling. Embrace silence. As Jung often reminded us, the unconscious does not communicate through orders but through symbols, sensations, and gestures. When the mind becomes still, the body naturally finds its rhythm. This harmony is not confined to the physical act of love. It is nourished in the quiet rituals of daily life, unhurried walks, soft exchanges, shared stillness. Such moments weave a subtle rhythm of togetherness that carries into passion. The more two lives harmonize in the mundane, the more effortlessly their bodies align when desire awakens. Synchronized movement and mirroring are not skills to perfect, but signs to perceive. They whisper, "In this instant, the veil has thinned." Two have met not to disappear into each other, but to become more fully themselves. Here lies the essence of Jung's deeper understanding. Intimacy is not confined to physical pleasure. It is a revelation. In every gaze, every offering, every shared breath, love unveils itself as something far greater than longing. It is the unconscious daring to unite what has long been divided, to let the human spirit touch the eternal through the simple act of presence. Let us now bring these insights together and contemplate their deeper meaning, not only for our relationships, but for our evolution toward inner wholeness. We have explored 4 intimate expressions of genuine love: the depth found in prolonged eye contact,
the quiet joy of placing a partner's fulfillment above one's own, the tenderness that remains long after passion fades, and the effortless harmony born from shared movement. Though they may appear simple on the surface, through the lens of depth psychology, they are profoundly symbolic. These moments are the hidden language of the unconscious, subtle gestures that communicate devotion, trust, and emotional safety without words. Thinkers like Carl Jung often reminded us that intimacy extends far beyond the physical. It is ultimately a meeting between souls. When a man displays these signs in closeness, he is not merely acting out desire, he is unveiling his truest self. In that sacred space, he sets aside the mask of the persona, faces the shadow's quiet demands, and allows his authentic essence to emerge. When two individuals encounter each other at that level, what unfolds is more than physical union. It becomes spiritual communion. If this reflection resonates with you, consider supporting this space by subscribing and staying connected for future explorations into the deeper psyche. In our next conversation, we will uncover the ancient patterns, the archetypes that influence not just love, but the entire story of the human spirit.
Until then, may you see with honesty, love with courage, and walk through life with an open heart.